Hello everyone, I'm Denes Boros, Grandmaster Resident, and this is Games You Should Know by Heart. And today I'll start with a question about chess dynasties. Can anyone tell me some chess dynasties from our rich culture called chess? Polgar? Yeah, the Polgar sisters is a famous chess dynasty. Yeah, the Paulsons, yeah. The Feingolds and the Shahadis, yeah. But can anyone mention Dutch dynasties? Here's a game from Arnold van Foreest, the Van Foreest family. And they're actually extremely famous in Dutch circles. But let's take a look at this game first. All right, e4, nothing really, that's very normal. e4 is a move. e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, knight f6, d4, and I'm sad to say no fried liver this time. You're all sad, but Arnold van Foreest plays d4. He takes d4, castles, knight takes e4. How should white continue here, if I can ask the audience? It's white to move, yes, that's correct. Rook e1, d5. Ha, I'm a pawn up. Bishop d5, queen takes d5. Knight c3, yeah. This very, very classical line. There's no d takes c3 because queen takes d5. Queen h5, that's what's played. Knight takes e4, bishop e6. And now Arnold van Foreest finds a very good move, which is actually bishop g5, stopping black from castling. h6, and now there's a very brilliant move. Bishop f6, yeah. And obviously, there's no g takes because knight takes f6. Let's just show everyone. And then we part from the queen, and white will be celebrating. So queen a5, and how should white continue? Knight d4, of course. If we sacrifice it once, we'll sacrifice it again. Knight takes d4, g takes f6. So the gauntlet was dropped, but it's picked up, and now we sacrifice the piece. We have to show that we're worthy. Let's show that we're worthy. Now the question is, how can we break through in this position? Any ideas? Yes? Knight takes f6. Knight f6, and f5 play king e7. Knight takes e6. Mm-hmm. Yes. Actually, Arnold van Foreest did the reversed order. He took on e6 first. I'm not sure there's anything wrong with takes and king e7, knight e6. King takes f6 would feel a little chilly for the king. So knight e6 was played, so takes e6, knight f6, king f7. Queen d7, yes, and he plays it. So black plays bishop e7, but what if black decides to take it? Challenge accepted. Yeah. Okay, rook takes and go, but we have to mate, otherwise we'll just lose. We have to be precise.
Takes king g5, then f4 probably. So almost impossible to run away. f4.
f4.
Any move is good.
Mm-hmm. And most likely it's mate. The other way is h4, and just chase the king around. How does h4 win?
King takes G3, and it's on.
G3 and I go back to G5.
F4,
Mm-hmm.
and then check to F7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's many ways to win. That's correct. Yeah.
G4.
Or rook e4 check could be also nice. And here, check. Mate. That'd be cool. But Alice, it didn't happen. Black played bishop e7.
Green takes.
Queen takes. King g7.
Now I need to do something else. Knight D5.
Knight d5. Very good move. White realized that, yeah, one thing, cutting away the queen, right? Cutting the queen off from the defenses. Also attacking the bishop. But White also realized that if he would bring the rook, he'd just lose too much material. And also there's no knight h5 check, because this queen would just do the duty of taking. So knight d5, rook e8, queen d7, setting up this threat of taking on e7. Queen c5. And now White plays another very, very precise move.
Rook somewhere. E4, E3.
Mm-hmm. Rook e3 and rook e4. I would like rook e3 as well. This looks good for White. What he takes first, which is good. And we can see this enormous pressure. There's knight e6 in the air. There's knight takes e8. So Black plays queen h5, takes. But to continue.
Rook somewhere. Or G4.
Rook where? White already has a big attack, but
E3 maybe.
yeah, rook e3 seems like a great move.
E3 or
Yeah,
is there any
Just-
difference?
just doubling. Well, rook e3 compared to any other moves, the thing is, on e3 it's stable. And remember, we're still kind of sacrificing some material. So if those bishop and knight could coordinate well, Black can put up a fight. So that's why it's good to put your pieces where they're defended. That's why rook e3 and not rook e4. King h8, rook a e1. And I love the way Arnold van Foreest first puts his pieces in the ideal squares, then starts munching on pawns. Rook d8, yum, yum, yum. Queen c5, h3, just creating a little luft for the king so it can run away on h2 later on. Rook f8, rook takes e7. Takes, here, takes. And if I'm counting correctly, White has a lot of pawns, and Black doesn't really have much. So Van Gelder resigned in this position. Now, how would you rate the White player? What would his rating be? 2100, 2300, 2400. Okay, so my second question is, when was this game played? Was it sharply calculated by White or not? I think yes, definitely.
In style?
But in fact, this was played in 1918.
18.
And in this way, I'd like to join the debate between Josh Friedel and Benjamin Feingold. And I'm citing that just because it's played in the 1918th, Arnold van Foreest, who's actually was a 3 times Dutch champion, wasn't a bad player. He just played it in the 1900s. That's all. And actually that means that talent is ageless. You can look up games from the 1900s, the 1800s. There could be games that are on the highest level. And I feel in this game, it was shown that Arnold van Foreest had the skills to play 2600 or 2650. And I feel this was pretty close. And so yes, this dynasty is the Van Foreest dynasty, which is actually from Holland, from Dutchland, from the Netherlands, thank you. And Van Foreest Arnold is the great-great-grandfather of Jorden van Foreest, which is amazing that this is a chess dynasty that you've never heard of. In fact, Arnold van Foreest had a brother, and I'm going to show his games. And his name is Dirk van Foreest. What you should know about the Van Foreests of these times, that both of them were 3 times Dutch champions. So they were pretty great. And in fact, Erwin said about Dirk that if he didn't become a doctor, he would have become a world champion. And what's also interesting, a little bit of an extra tidbit about the Van Foreests, that they're Jonkheers, which actually means young master, so they're actually the lords of chess, actually from a noble family. So let's start off with this game, e4, e5. This was played recently in 1885. Knight f3, knight c6, and 1885. Modern chess. d4. I think this is still pretty viable. E takes, knight takes d4. I think this was played in London between Nakamura and Carlsen. And so, yeah, Kasparov too. And knight f6 was played in the Kasparov-Karpov matches, and also the game Nakamura-Carlsen, the other way around. But bishop c5 is also a good move. Bishop e3, queen f6, c3. Could we say that this is nothing of a normal game? I don't think so. This is very normal. a6. Now this is a bit sluggish, but I guess we can give some Tinholt that he didn't know that knight e7 is good here. He was afraid of knight b5, which is understandable, but by now we know it's not a big thing. They didn't have computers as such. a6. And what moves would you play here in this position with white? It's your typical Scotch position. It does. Nice little Scotch ideas. Knight f3, then that would leave this bishop unprotected and would make a bad structure. So, in fact, bishop c4. Yeah, bishop c. That's what you wanted to say? Yeah, bishop c4 is a very logical move and played in many games. But Van Foreest played bishop e2. And I checked it. It's good. There's nothing wrong with bishop e2. d6, castle, knight e7. And Van Foreest finds a move. It's pretty good here. And remember, Van Foreest didn't know about Morozevich or anyone near him. Not even Tal. He didn't even know who Tal is.
He was Anderson.
Yeah, he knew Anderson, but he didn't know. So White found here an idea that would later become fantastic and used in many games. but let me give you a hint. Now this bishop is a little bit loose because we can't really develop the knight because the d4 knight is hanging. We cannot really move the pawn because then would loosen the bishop even more. We can't move the knight because the bishop is shaky. So if your bishop is shaky, what can you do to make a stable position for yourself? b4 would just chase away the bishop. It's an idea, but it wouldn't help the stability of the bishop on e3. Knight c2 is a way. And there's a second way that Dirk van Foreest found. Knight c6 is not helping that. Queen d2, exactly. He played king h1 first, bishop d7, and now queen d2. And this idea will be used in the 2000s. You know, it's just a few years away from 1885. And this is a very good move by all standards. Super grandmasters, potters, everyone loves it. I do too. I don't know, I'm kind of in between. So queen d2. This actually stabilizes the bishop on e3 and the knight on d4. And kind of hints at ideas of knight c6 later on, but with the intent to take anything with the queen. h6, f4, knight g6. And we can already see that white made a lot of progress. Before, white had only one pawn in the center, now he has two. And black can't really take on d4, let's say here. C takes d4, and white would just enjoy a free center for nothing. And this is possible because the queen is well placed on d2. And for example, if castles, which is a very sluggish move, then white would be rewarded for waiting for so long and not moving the knight on b1 so it could land on c3. And now white would have a beautiful position and would most likely be on its way to win. f4, knight g6. And now, as we talked about, there's one problem left for white. What is that? The knight on b1 is still a bit icky. It's just not good there. So, Van Foreest realized that there is an issue there. We need to solve that somehow. So he comes up. Knight a3 would be edgy because they'll just take it and we'll have double pawns, and we wouldn't want that. b4, can you repeat?
b4 is okay.
b4, then the bishop moves away and we weaken our structure a little bit. So Dirk found an amazing idea. He's going to start a slow maneuver just to achieve a good space, a good queen d3. Queen d3, that's an original idea. It could work. That's not what he played, but it would give space for the knight. The only concern would be that it could be in the way of bishop b5s, maybe. So he started with bishop c4. Queen d3 is interesting too. Bishop c4, queen e7, and now the signature of the Van Foreest family, the tactical sight, helped him. So he found a pretty good move here. What did he play here?
Time for e5 already.
e5 would be a bit early. White still actually tries to develop more. Knight f5, then I'll take your bishop.
Pawn F5?
Come
Pawn
again?
F5?
Pawn f5, that wouldn't help the development for white. So actually, it's more like a positional move with a tactical idea.
Still queen D3.
Hmm. It's definitely a queen move.
F2.
Queen f2, exactly. Now, don't dare take on e4, because you're fairly underdeveloped for that kind of adventure. Because I'll just bring out all the beasts. Knight d2, rook a e1. And there's also this nice idea of takes. And I have this double threats. And this sneaky little rook will just attack your queen in the end. Takes, takes, and we'll say goodbye to your queen or your knight. So the e4 pawn is taboo. And I really like that from White's play, that he first plays for positional advantages and uses tactical ideas to actually stabilize his position. Castles, and now what? Knight d2. And after 3-4 moves, White stabilized his advantage, and we can clearly state that White is just much better. King h8, e5. The idea works because d takes c5, then knight takes c6, and then takes, 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 and White would be just a piece up. So he didn't take. Bishop e6. Now, bishop e6 is a move that you wouldn't play if you're happy with your position. Now, White goes on to punish it with a very normal sequence of moves, but powerful ones.
C6.
And I take c6, and if I take back, bc. Yeah. We can wait. I don't think that's wrong, but we should, if you have a big advantage, we should try to increase it. So I don't know if double pawns are fun, but are triple pawns fun?
Triple.
C6, B takes C6, bishop take,
Yeah.
beats C5.
So he realized that it's just time to get some advantage. And those 3 pawns are not the happiest. How can we continue? We already have a pawn majority with White. So if we use our forces well enough, we should be on our way to victory.
F5.
F5, then I'll take on c4. And you'll just drop the pawn on e5.
Bishop D3.
Bishop d3 is an option. Well, whenever we're looking at position, and there's still pieces not ideally positioned, what should we do? Develop, yes? Yeah, rook a1. Chess is simple, just like that. Bishop d5, queen g3. And slowly, slowly, black is getting pushed off the board. Queen d8, f5. Now, it was already a sad situation for black, because there's no f5 ideas, because that would just drop the piece on g6. And already f5 is coming with full force. Queen d8, f5, knight e7. How should we continue? f6, of course. Knight g6. And now Dirk van Foreest plays a very nice, subtle, little, powerful move.
E6.
e6. That'd be a bit aggressive. I'm not saying it still could be good, but h4. That's not too subtle. Those are pretty aggressive moves. This is a subtle little move that Geary would praise, and this time I would agree with him. Bishop d3, yes. It's a move. There's no need to rush. Black is already in big trouble, because gf would just hasten the end, and otherwise black is out of moves, and the simple threat of bishop takes g6 is just deadly. King h7, and now we need to go Nakamura in this position. e6 is a way, but there's easier ways to deal with black. How can we just annihilate our opponents here? h4, just and saying, I know that you want to defend your knight, but you won't be there for long. King h8, h5, takes, and it's over. Queen d7, takes, queen f4, f3, f7, and suspecting a mate on h6, he resigned. Tinholt resigned. I really like this game because it showed that, indeed, just because it was played in the 1900s, it was a very thoughtful play by White. Wouldn't you agree? White had put a lot of effort to stabilize his center and also did his best to mobilize all his pieces before launching the final attack. But there were times he played imaginative chess. That's coming up next. So he's black in this game. But don't worry, there'll be games that are kind of new in chess, and not all of them will be from the 1800s and 1900s. So bishop b5, and if we think 18, what would we think black would play in this position? a6, okay, that's... Oh, d6, yeah, d6 mostly. That's very popular in that time. But f5, that was played by Dirk van Foreest. A very, very aggressive move with the intentions not too peaceful. d3, bishop c5, castle, the Danish, yes. d6, e takes, bishop f5. And I'd admit that this is a bit shaky from our point of view, but at that time this is okay. This would be suspect in today's age, because d4 would put this opening structure into question. But his opponent was playing more timidly with bishop e3, bishop b6. But I guess when we're looking at players and their level of play, we should take a look how they actually play chess. Opening is just one part of the game.
But
h3.
if you take the c6 knight bishop, c6.
Yeah, what's with that?
If you take the bishop with the c6, then the structure will collapse, right?
Yeah, he can ruin our structure, but what black gets for exchange is the bishop pair. So that's kind of a compensation.
But the structure is going to collapse, right?
No, it doesn't collapse. Just because you have a doubled pawn, it's still a fluid game. It's not always that bad to have double pawns, especially if you have other pawns near those double pawns.
My question here
Yes.
is, if black has now the bishop pair,
Yeah.
could he not just take on d6? I mean,
Yeah, he can, but that would improve the structure, and that's what happens. And now it's not as bad because the problem with doubled pawns that they get isolated, so you can chip away them and attack them and no one can defend them. When there are pawns nearby, it's not a big deal to have doubled pawns. Yes, h3, knight f6, knight c3, castles, takes, c takes b6. Now c takes b6 is also a very good way of playing. He says, I don't want doubled pawns. I just want a good structure and good piece play. Knight e2, knight d5. Where is that knight headed? Where's that knight on d5 headed to? Where? f4, yes. Knight g3, bishop e6, d4. And what did Dirk van Foreest play here? It's kind of knight f4, yeah. Yeah, someone with a degree, he knows that he needs to follow his plans. D takes e4 and d5. It's a very nice sacrifice, saying that this e5 pawn is worthless, unlike my attack. Knight d4. And now, bishop takes h3. G takes h3. Now knight takes h3. King g2.
Check first.
Check. King g1. Queen h4. Yes. And then Dirk van Foreest feels that there's enough compensation for the given material. Why could he think that way? What's the reason he's so confident about his compensation here? The king is loose. Also, the white pieces are loose. The knight on d4 is a bit shaky. This knight on g3 is not doing too much. And also, black outweighs white in the attacking department. There's 3 pieces attacking and only 1 defending. This knight is almost there, but not quite yet. Knight e2. And black plays a very confident and good move here. What is that? Rook e8 would be fine. He chose queen h3 instead, saying, I'll exchange these pieces, but you'll activate my rook for this exchange. Because in general, when you're attacking, you don't want to exchange too much. But he felt that this exchange is worth it. Rook e1. How should we continue here? Yeah, rook a f8. Because in general, the threats are bigger than the execution. So bringing some more fuel works in this position. Rook e2. He defends the f2 pawn. Rook h4. Just queen h2 and queen takes g3 is in the air. So queen d3 is played, but if if something stupid, then just check here and takes. And white is just lost. So queen d3. And now black comes up with a very powerful plan. Rook g4 and h5, they're a little bit slow. There's no time for that. I guess the way Dirk van Foreest might have thought about this position is the following. What is the weakest point in white's position? The f2 pawn and the square. How can black mount some pressure on that square?
Check and then rook f4.
queen h2, and then that's what he played. Now, white has one move, and that's queen e3.
And then rook f3 and so.
Rook f3 is an idea, but Foreest played an even better one.
d4? D4, yeah.
d4? No, because he could check on b3. We don't want that.
Go away.
Then, well, yeah, probably it's still good. Rook e4.
E4.
Very nice little move by Dirk. There's no knight e4, because just checkmate. So queen d3 is only move.
Why not queen g5?
Queen g5, just take, and I'll just take everything, like queen g5,
Okay.
take, queen f2, checkmate. Rook what? Rook b4. Well, it doesn't really do anything there. So rook e4 was good. Queen d3. It was basically near there, but there's just simple win here. That's
No, rook takes on e2 and take that.
yeah, rook takes e2. There's again no knight takes e2 because the same. Actually, not the same. More simple. It's made in one. So queen takes c2 and queen g3, e6, and after e6, and white is just losing. Takes queen h3, rook f6, and there's no way that rook g6 could be defended. So Dirk van Foreest won. Now I know that we've seen a lot of games from the 19th century, so with teary eyes we say goodbye to the 19th century and come back to something that people like more these days, and watch some games that are new in chess, and a game that is played by Jorden van Foreest, who's the great-great-grandson of Arnold van Foreest. And the interesting tidbit about it is that Jorden is also a Dutch champion, just like his grandfathers and the brother of Arnold, Dirk. So e4, same old we would say. The whole family plays e4. c6, d4, d5, knight d2. Now he's playing the well-known Grandmaster Erwin, who played many times in Vikings and is a well-respected theoretical Grandmaster. Knight d2, takes, bishop f5, knight g3, bishop g6. Can anyone help me how the main line goes here? h4, h6, knight f3, knight d7, h5, bishop h7, bishop d3, takes, e6, bishop d2, knight f6, castle. So this is a tabia position. It's very popular these days. And obviously, white, Jorden, the youngest, from the previous ones, he knows his positions and he plays this very, very topical variation. Bishop b7, king b1, rook c8. And in general, what is white playing for in this position?
King?
Yeah, white is trying to actually mount an attack on black. Now black is hoping to get some counterplay for it. Yeah. So it's white to move, and even if you're unfamiliar with this position, try to find a way to actually conjure an attack with white. It's very useful to do trainings like that.
Knight e2.
Knight e2 is a way, but it's in some ways a little bit too timid. Can anyone back there tell me how white could play a very nice active aggressive move for white? Knight f5 is so active, it gives away a piece, so let's not get too active like that.
Knight e5?
Knight e5.
e5?
Yeah, knight e5 is an active move, so that's pretty good. C4 doesn't really help us to get things going on the king side. Yeah, so when you can, don't show your intentions. Therefore, Foreest played knight e4. If you play rook g1 here, you give away the fact that you're trying to mate me. So I'm not going to castle into that. And if you play knight e4, it's not quite apparent yet what your intentions are. And in fact, after castles, there's one very enterprising move. And if you have a good idea, please raise your hand. Yes? Knight e5. Well, it wouldn't work now because I take. And here, the knight is defending the h7 square, so it doesn't really work. But g4 is a good one. And now black will have a big attack. Therefore, Lamy is being cautious and finds a move that gives him some counterplay and doesn't get his king under an attack. Anyone an idea? Please raise your hand if you have an idea. Yes?
Knight takes e4, takes f6.
That's a way. Taking, getting rid of all those pieces. But Lamy was looking for some counterplay and plays c5. Knight f6. So, whenever your opponent tries to play against you, the priorities move. So bishop takes f6. And now, as the king is no longer on the king side, white needs to change plans. d5. So the young Jorden van Foreest tries to break through in the center. Queen b6. Let's not blunder mate. Let's play c3. c4. Where should we bring our queen?
e2.
Can you please raise your hand? Yeah?
e2.
Queen e2. Actually, I liked the idea. Queen e2 is good. And queen e4 is also good. And that's what Van Foreest played. And because the queen is very active here. And also it eyes the black king while it can draw back to c2 at times, defending the white king. e5. Bishop e3. So slowly but surely, white is activating his own pieces. Queen d6. And now the real part, the real meat comes. And white starts a very nice maneuver in this position. You raise your hand? Okay.
Still g4. Knight h4.
Knight h4. Knight h4 with what plan?
I can come back to f5.
It's a very good idea. But Van Foreest did it from the other way, from d4, using the fact that black can't take because it's a pin. Now, if knight h4, he might take. That's the reason he didn't put.
But ultimately it will come by f5.
But ultimately, your idea of going to f5 was correct. Knight d4. knight c5. And now this would be a blunder unless white had a good move here. Because black is threatening to win the piece.
Queen G4.
Can you raise it?
Queen G4.
Yeah, queen g4. And there's no way you can take, because I just take on c8. And white is just winning. So black stops it. Now we plank the knight on f5, which is a very, very good piece. Knight d3. And it's time to cash in. You take the pawn on g7, takes, king e7. And we talked about the older Van Foreest tactical site. We should find and take a look if Jorden van Foreest also have a tactical site or not. It's white to move and get an advantage. It's a very beautiful move.
Rook takes d3.
Rook takes d3. I take back.
Take e5, check.
King d8. Oh, if king d8, then yeah, that wins.
G6.
Yeah. But rook d3 is still not good, unfortunately, because queen f5. There's that intermediate move of queen f5. What's the first thing we spot in this position? What is mostly inconvenienced for black? Can anybody help me? What?
E5 pawn.
The e5 pawn, and also the king on e7 is feeling a little bit uncomfortable. And we're kind of like the unwanted guests. We want to make it even more uncomfortable. Bishop h6, you can play queen f5 or queen d5. It's not over yet, but Jordan's move is just crushing.
Bishop c5 check.
Exactly. Black took on c5 with the rook. What if knight takes c5? Can you please continue?
Take pawn check.
Yeah, d6, yeah.
No. In the
Oh, take the pawn? If you take the pawn, I can still cover up a little bit and try. Oh, but maybe there's d6 too. Yeah, d6 works, that's true. But in fact, there's this, yeah, d6 doesn't work, although it would be a cute way of winning. The king walks away, unfortunately, but this would have been a pretty beautiful mate. I've never seen quite like that. So, in fact, you're right. Yeah, queen takes e5 is correct, and takes, knight e6 check, and takes, and white just wins on the spot. So rook takes c5, queen takes h8, queen f5. Well, even when we're winning, we need to be careful.
King a1.
Yeah, king a1. Rook d5, queen takes h6. But Jordan quickly gobbles up some pawns. But he's also paying attention to black's threats. Because whenever you're winning, there's always a chance that there could be some slight tricks that could bother you later on. Queen takes f2. And now, Jordan finds another very nice, well-calculated defense. Queen g5 check, f6. And how could white defend and also improve his position at the same time?
d2, queen d2.
Queen d2, well, he could have played queen d2 immediately. Queen d2 is fine, but white has an even better way of increasing the advantage. Mm-hmm. Queen g7, king e6.
Queen takes b7.
Yes. So it's important to have sharp calculation even if you're winning. And that's just what Jorden showed and has. This sharp calculation that I guess maybe inherited from Dirk and Arnold. I think this tactical side does help him. And he actually wins the game very soon. Queen b6, he exchanges queens. And how should we continue? h6, yeah. If you have a passed pawn, just push it. h7, rook h6. He doesn't blunder knight f2 trickies. Plays rook h6, b5, rook f1, knight f4, g3, knight d5, g4. Just putting even more pressure on the position. King f7, g5, king g7, back. And black gave up, realizing that there's no hope. Because after f takes g5, rook f5 wins, and white will just take all the pawns. That was the games you should know from the Lords of Chess, the Van Foreest Dynasty, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thank you.